Previously on The Honest Mechanic. Oh, that's bad. On one side, we've got a piston that looks pretty good. I mean, however, flip it around and sadness. And this is what the cylinder looks like after giving it a quick wipe down. You can definitely tell there's some pretty good score marks. But then, hello, there's the other chunk of aluminum that's missing from the piston. I'm going to hone out the cylinder simply with a stone and maybe a ball hone just to give some cross hatching, get rid of some of the damage, and of course get rid of that aluminum. That's going to be done with a little bit of muriatic acid. After that, I'm going to put it back together and I'm going to see how it runs. After deciding that we're going to reuse all those parts, I got straight to work with some muriatic acid and a little paintbrush, and I started scrubbing away at some of that aluminum that was stuck inside the cylinder walls. You'll see in a moment that stuff starts to bubble, eating away at all that aluminum that's caught up in those little scratches. Followed that up with a good stone hone, and I made sure that I was satisfied with the results. And at that point, I made sure that I did a good cross hatching for some oil delivery. I followed that up with a good cleaning. And as you'll see, the cylinder looks pretty darn good for simply using a stone hone. I immediately started reassembling all the parts, reusing that old piston, cleaning it up as much as I could, and just making sure that the rings were facing the right direction. Reassembly, of course, began with a good coating of assembly lube and cautiously reinserting that original piston back into its home. From there, started assembling the bottom end of the components, starting with the crank, made sure that the camshaft was aligned and timed correctly. Then it was time to silicone or RTV that cover plate and reassemble it as required. And that was followed by installing the head and torquing it to spec. After that, I made sure that the valves were in clearance. And that leads us to here. Completely assembled, ready to go, minus one important thing, of course, and that's the oil. I haven't thrown any oil in it yet because I want to show you guys that I haven't fired it up. So that's what we're going to do. Throw some oil in it, and we're also going to be putting it right back onto the pressure washer frame, attach the pump, put it outside, and maybe pressure wash the wife's car. Alright, so let's start by just mounting the pressure washer pump onto the engine, since we've got it on the bench here, and it just makes it easier. I know last time I took it off from the frame, but that was because I thought possibly the pump was... Do you guys see that? That was awesome. I'm not even editing that out. That was cool. Like a complete flip. It's like the bottle flip challenge, but this is the NTC's brush on a cap challenge flip. I don't know if they say that right. Whatever. It doesn't matter. See, we have fun here in the shop. Happy you guys could join me. Okay, so before we get too far in this, we got to remember to put the key back on. And then just kind of make sure it's in there. Use a hammer or an older Husky wrench. Make sure this is also at the top where you got that one. It should slide right in, just like that. And then we're going to reassemble all of these. I'm not going to put any anti-seize on these, but I think I might put a drop of blue Loctite, just because we don't want them to vibrate loose. But I don't want to overdo it on this, because if you put too much of this stuff, it just makes it really difficult to remove later, and it's kind of in a tough spot. So pause. And make sure you got the right bolts, because I thought I was putting in the wrong, the long ones, but it's the shorter ones. Let's try that again. That's good. All the way around. I thought I used a ratchet last time, but I gotta start looking at my own videos from time to time, which I do. to see how I reassemble, or how to properly reassemble stuff, because sometimes I just get so caught up in the moment of just tearing it apart that I forget to take personal notes, or I get caught up in just filming, period. I'm trying to do a good job for you guys here. I want to make it interesting. Alright, so that's nice and tight. It came with an isolation plate, if you guys remember that part. So we're going to put that back on. I suppose you don't really need them. If you don't use it, you're going to probably want to use maybe slightly shorter hardware. But I'm going to recommend it because these things vibrate a lot. These engines are not exactly super well balanced. So put that on like that. Right about there. And then we're going to torque the bolts good and tight. And there you go. Good and tight. So now, let's add some oil. Alright, so this thing only takes, according to what I see here on the plate, 0.6 of a liter. It's not very much. So, chances are, I'm going to make a mess here, like I normally would with oil, because it's either I make a mess on the way out, or in this case, probably on the way in. Trying to do this slowly, so it doesn't sneak up on me. Where are we at? Where are we at? Ooh, I think we're getting close. Oh yeah, we're at the halfway mark. So we have a couple more drops and we're going to be nice and full. And I can see the oil right at the edge here, so I think we're good. And just to verify with a dipstick, yep, we are right at the top, so we are good. Should run for more than what was, I don't know how long it ran the first time without oil, but I'm going to assume it wasn't very long. Alright, so we're outside clearly, and it's kind of ironic because I want to wash our Volkswagen, and it's actually raining. So some people would be like, well, what's the point? But I want to test my pressure washer. So the next thing we need to do is obviously make sure we got some gas in there, because I don't remember ever checking the gas, and oh, it's almost full, and it doesn't smell terrible. So that's good news. And let's do a first startup, guys. You guys ready for this? Because I've never heard it. I know my camera person hasn't heard it because she's been watching me the whole time, filming the whole way. So you can guarantee that this is the first time it ever gets started since the rebuild. So cross your fingers. So I'm going to go through the start procedure here, and we're just gonna so full choke. There's no valve on this thing for fuel, and there is no off switch because you just have this lever all the way back. Now, hopefully the governor is set because I didn't play with any of that. But here goes nothing. You know what I should do though? I should hook up some water. So we got some water. So that's good. I like to make sure there's water hooked up to the pump, just that way there. It doesn't run dry. I don't think it would matter if you run it for a short period of time. But we have water available. So, okay, let's give it a shot here. Hopefully it's not 17 pulls. No way. No way. Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. One pull. That was not staged. You can ask my camera person. Actually, give me the phone. Was it staged? No. Alright, so I guess what we need to do is throw on some safety gear and start washing the car. This is not even full power. I think it's been running for a few minutes or so. Let's give it a little bit more and see what it's got. That's quite a bit of power. You know what? I don't think I would ever have to run it that high. So I think I might have played with those adjustments just a little bit, because that seems quite high to me. Could have been why the piston seized up in the first place, but something else we should try. Oh wait. Would be make sure it stops. And I want to try one of these detergent tanks. I've got a little bit of soap left, actually. It's not a whole bunch, but I got a little bit of my favorite Meguiar's soap here. Again, I'm not a sponsor. I don't have any sponsors, but I am going to use this, and I'm going to try. There's a soap nozzle on this, so hopefully I'll have enough to soap the whole entire car, and then give it a quick pressure wash. Alright, hopefully this is going to be enough, because I'm not sure how low the suction is, or the pickup is for the tanks here. But hopefully you get a little bit of soap out of it, because it'd be cool for me to see. I've never used one of these, and with 2 tanks. Alright, so I found out that there is a screw to adjust the high speed on this, so this sounds a little bit more reasonable if you ask me. This is probably not bad at all. Alright, so let's set it to soap. We got it on the right tank here. You should probably do this with the pressure washer off, because you probably hurt yourself. So pretend I didn't do that. Alright, now let's see what we get. I don't see any soap. Okay, so unfortunately I've been trying for a few minutes here, and I just can't seem to get the soap to dispense from the nozzle, but there is some progress down below here. You can see that we've got some fluid making its way up into the pump, and I guess it goes to this valve at the front here and then to the pump. So maybe I just got to try a little bit harder or for a little bit longer, but as of right now we're not getting soap, but that doesn't matter. We're just gonna use it as it is. Alright guys, well, as you can tell, it's running pretty good. And of course, I'm going to dial in the RPM for the high side a little bit more as I play around with it and as it breaks in. So I'm going to be probably running it maybe twice, maybe 2 more times, yeah, I guess I would say. And definitely be replacing that oil and then putting some fresh stuff again, because it's still technically in a break-in period. So that's going to be the end of it for today. That'll be the end of the video. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'd like to say thanks to Sunset Originals, because he's been commenting a little bit lately. One of the things he mentioned was to maybe ask everyone or make an intro saying, you know, like, subscribe and share, all that kind of stuff. That's a very good comment, and I would appreciate if you guys did that, provided you enjoyed the video. The other comment he had was maybe price in some of the parts that it would cost to repair this thing. So ironically enough, I was going to do that anyways, but I'm happy he commented. So in order for me to replace the piston, because really nothing else in that whole rebuild needed to be done, the piston from my local vendor here was $95, of course, plus taxes. So even if I was to do it properly with a new piston, it's still actually a really good repair. It's still a big score. I probably should have maybe gone with an oversize, but as you can tell, for the life of what I expect out of my $60 or $50-$60, I'm doing good. So again guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.